Hey, David Brewster here with a new episode of Breaking Chords, and this is Scott Henderson's Stacked Fifths workout. And I've been working on a lot of Scott Henderson material lately, and it was about 2 months ago when I made the Scales and Tails episode, Scott Henderson's Pentatonic Substitution Secrets. And that video did really well here on my channel, and I've been working on some of his music and ideas and lessons and stuff. And I basically found this old video on YouTube right here, and he was breaking down this stacked fifths idea, which is really cool. It's fretboard expanding and has a very modern type of sound. So if you're a Scott Henderson fan, or maybe you're looking for a different way of moving around the fretboard, or you want to tap into some of these modern type sounds, this lesson's totally for you. So to get started here, we're just going to dive right into this material. And the first thing I'm going to do is share this clip where Scott's kind of showing you how to do this over a minor chord, and then we're going to change that into a major chord, and then he does a progression. And some other stuff's going to appear in this episode too. But the first thing I want to share here is the clip so you can kind of see it and hear it broken down from Mr. Scott Henderson.
Let's say we're going to do A minor. Start here on A, go a fifth to E, another fifth to B, and then go up a half step and then do more fifths. Fifth up to G, fifth up to D. So you get this sound, which gives you the sound of A minor.
So in that clip, Scott was basically playing this stacked fifths arpeggio like this. Right? And it's basically, you know, like the A to E is a fifth, and then the E to B is a fifth, and then you're going to basically shift up a half step to that C note right there, and then that C to G is a fifth, and then that G to D is also a fifth. So you have, you know, different stacked fifths happening, you know, in this idea. And the fingering is really unusual because you're doing this, that kind of, you know, sus2 shape like that. You know, a half step, you know, slide into that C, and then I'm just using my middle finger and then using my pinky to reach over and grab that D note at the end. I think Scott was doing something more like that, where he ended up on his index finger and grabs, you know, the D note with his third finger. You can play that however you want. I would recommend trying different ways, different approaches with your fingering, like that or like that. And that's a great, you know, start right there. And I would just start, you know, slowly, and then kind of make your way up and skip over there. And then once you get used to ascending, then descend, and you can sit there and just go up and down. You know, and kind of play with it like that. And I wouldn't worry about speed at first. I would just worry on form and really getting that shape kind of under your fingers, and then you can start cranking up the speed. But in the beginning, just play it very controlled and accurate like that. So that arpeggio right there, that's an A minor 11, like a true A minor 11 that also has the ninth, because we've got, you know, basically A and E, so that's the root and the fifth. Then the ninth is that B note right there. We're sliding to the minor third, which is that C note, and then we're hopping over and grabbing that G note right there. That's the flat 7 of A, right? And then that final note is that D note, and that's the 4th in the key of A, which is also the 11th. So we're basically using chord tones and extensions for that idea. Because we have the 9th and the 11th, also the flat 7's hiding in there. Which the flat 7's not really an extension, but it's part of that chord. So it's an implied A minor 11. And during that clip, Scott was playing that over an A minor add 9 right here. And I'm going to loop that with the MXR clone looper so you can hear what this sounds like over an appropriate chord. So here's A minor 11, kind of played the way Scott did. And I'm going to play that arpeggio. And it definitely has a nice, you know, modern sound. So I first heard this sound, the stacked minor 11 kind of tonality hiding in Joe Satriani's music, and you can hear this in the Mystical Potato Head Groove thing from Flying in a Blue Dream. Also the song Power Cosmic, which was a Guitar Player Magazine sound page exclusive. But, you know, Scott Henderson was doing it this way, with that kind of position shift slide, right? And then Satriani's way of doing this is all in a single position. It's much stretchier, like this. Right? And it's the same notes, just fretted and played in a different way, like that. And you can definitely catch Joe doing like the overhand muting. Let's move this up, like let's do it in D right here. That way it's a little bit easier to play, and you've got a little bit more room to mute. You know, doing that kind of stuff where you're literally doing hammer-ons from nowhere all the way through it. That's really hard to do because you're literally kind of using that shape but with legato, hammering on from nowhere. It's a really hard technique. Definitely I should use more gain, I think, to get more oomph out of that. But that's the other fingering right there. Instead of Scott's way, you got the Satriani way like that. Now to get back into Scott Henderson land, next up Scott shared a major version of this, you know, kind of shifted idea. So instead of doing the minor like this, you know, definitely suitable for playing over, you know, minor family chords, you know, that A minor add 9 that he was playing over. But this is basically played over an A6 sus2 sharp 11 that Scott kind of demonstrated here. You know, that sound or tonality, right? That's basically an A with all the extensions, the 2nd, the 4th, and the 13th. But an A6 sus2 sharp 11. And for this idea, we're going to basically keep the same thing in the beginning, you know, that A to E to B. But then instead of shift sliding into C, let's raise that up to C sharp. And then we're also going to catch this G sharp and D sharp way up on the top. Like that. So definitely a twist in the tonality compared to what we had. There's the minor and then the major. And then playing it over that chord, you know, A6 sus2 sharp 11 like this, you can hear what it sounds like. Now we could also adapt the Satriani stretch. It's definitely going to be a little bit stretchier because now instead of this that we had for the A minor 11, now this, you know, stretchier major version you're going to do, and then catch C sharp right there, and then the G sharp and D sharp. So that's a big stretch right there. It also doesn't really lend itself to the kind of rolling, you know, legato that Satriani is known for. So that's probably why we don't really see him using the major version that often, because that's a lot hairier and harder to play compared to the minor version. But there's the Satriani shift or stretch, like that. But definitely Scott's version's way easier for the major. You know, just kind of adding that position shift in there. But then played over that chord once again, you can definitely hear how it works.
If you want it to be a major, then you go the same thing here, up a fifth, but instead of going up a half step, go up a whole step, and then up a fifth and a fifth. So now you get the sound of like a major 7 sharp 11.
Okay, next up, Scott was basically moving this idea through a chord progression to kind of show you how you could explore this idea and the sound even further. So the chord progression he was using was E minor to C major, A minor to F major, right? And he started way up here for E minor, and then C major right here, and then A minor right there, and then F major way down here. You know, really interesting progression, and you can really hear how you can kind of capture some interesting kind of modern flavors using this arpeggio. And definitely a handful, and it's stretchy, you know, in that version you're kind of moving around the fretboard, But what an eye-opening, way of kind of getting around the neck and moving between positions.
You could make like a chord progression, say if you're going to play E minor to C major to A minor to F major.
Here's a bonus idea from this footage I found. This is more or less an octave-linked Phrygian idea. It's really cool. And Scott was playing this over an A11 flat 9, like that. And that chord will definitely keep your neighbors, up late at night if you play that. And then this idea, this octave-linked arpeggio is like this. Something like that. And he's basically doing the same thing and just moving it through octaves. So over that tonality, A11 flat 9, he's doing A to B flat, grabbing D and then this F, and then slide that to G flat right there. Like that. And then he does it again an octave higher right here. And then again, way up there. What a really cool, modern, ear-catching sound. And over that tonality, over that chord, you can really hear this kind of pop and come to life. And there I was doing kind of a sequence for it. Right? And that's all in that one position right there, the first position. And then do it again. Right there, and then again right there. And you can come up with all kinds of cool, wicked licks, based around that idea. But I'm always looking for different ways to connect the fretboard and connect, different positions or octaves, and that's a cool idea. Once again, from Mr. Scott Henderson.
If you look at it as A, would be kind of Phrygian. So simple pattern, and then it just repeats. And then if you do it fast, right, so it's just...
That's going to wrap this episode of Breaking Chords with this look at Scott Henderson's stacked fifths workout. And I just recently stumbled upon this and have been working on it, and then that directly turned into this episode, or this lesson. And, I am influenced by the requests, because I have requests every day from viewers out there. And that definitely steers me in certain directions. And then other times I share things I'm actually working on for myself, and I just turn it into a video to kind of share with viewers out there. Maybe it's something that you would want to tap into and work on. And this is something I'm just now kind of warming up to. And I'm kind of revisiting some of Satriani's ideas using it, and then mixing them with Henderson's. And just stirring all this up to see what happens. And that's what you want to do with music, concepts, licks, ideas. You want to borrow these ideas from other people and then stir it up. See what happens if you change notes, change positions, maybe change the fingering. You could shift major to minor, minor to major, minor to diminished, or major to augmented, or whatever you want to do. But shake things up. Don't just play it the way it was originally shown or written or performed. Find different ways of playing some of this stuff. And I definitely like, this kind of shift, slip and slide kind of approach, shifting in and out of different positions. Really cool stuff. So anyway, leave some feedback and comments. Please subscribe to Nail It Lessons, and I'll be back before you know with more content and material. Thank you.